Well, hello, everybody. Excited about the season, getting ready to start. Man, it seems like it's a long time. Everybody was back in last Monday. Seems like it's a long time getting prepared, but we'll certainly be ready to go tomorrow morning. Kids aren't all back yet. They will be by 3:15 today. So excited to get going. Like our schedule, what we have a lot of opportunity in that schedule, and like our leadership on the team. So excited about it, guys. So I'll take questions whenever you're ready.
Yeah. 6:20 that first day. Is there a reason you decided to go a little bit earlier? Because everything else is about 9:15.
Yes, because school's still in, and so it wouldn't affect. And I really didn't want to go in the afternoon and then come back the next in the morning, and I didn't want to go afternoon, and change it. So simple answer is because it would affect us if we went later school-wise, so we had to go early.
Any personnel updates since SEC Media Day?
No, I don't think so. We talked about CC. Other than that, we should have everybody out there. So no change since Media Day.
Coach, I know you hit on this a little bit at Media Day, but talk a little bit more about Antonio Jordan, what your expectations are for him.
A lot of talent. He can run. He's ran well over 20 in his GPS. Can catch the ball, can go up and get the ball. We saw that out of high school. So as young guys, you wonder why they can't play. Well, a lot of reasons is because of size. A lot of it, they're not quite fast enough. They don't learn the playbook fast enough. With the new rules, we were able to certainly get him in and get him caught up as much as you can without actually doing it on the playbook. So there's really no deficiency there that would not allow him to play. Now he's got some guys he's got to beat out, obviously, but we think he's very capable, and I think he's going to be an exceptional. I don't want to put pressure on him young, but I think he's going to be an exceptional talent.
You feel pretty good about your depth. I mean, I know you're concerned about finding the best 22 to run out there to start. I get that, but do you feel pretty good about depth at most positions right now?
I really do. Again, I think there's a difference in what the public may know, what y'all may know at times, and what we know. And so I really do like our depth. Who's going to run out there with the ones? I think that's good competition right now. Obviously, Taylor Green, there's some guys, Carmona, but there's several guys like that. But there's also several guys in great competition, which I'm not for sure if we've had all the time in the past. So I think it's a good thing. I think we have more depth than we've had since I've been here. And therefore, when you have more depth, you have more competition. So I really like this team. I like the talent. I like the speed. For one of the few times we've got a big football team at every position. We're big. And certainly to survive in this league, you have to have some stature, some size to you.
So we're going to hear from Ben in a minute, but what's the feedback you've gotten in terms of strength gains and speed gains from the summer?
I'll let Ben talk about most of that, but what I liked about the summer program is the cohesiveness of the guys. I know there was one day in there where our players' lounge wasn't what we want it to be. We want it to look like it's brand new every day, and the kids took it on themselves to discipline, and they did, and I thought that was a step in the right direction with the team leadership. But we had full attendance. Obviously now it's mandatory, but we had full attendance, no holdouts, none of that stuff. And the guys, they got a break a little bit with the weather, until just recently, but they got a break with the weather. They were allowed, obviously working out in the afternoon and in the mornings, depending on what group you're in. But I think what Ben will tell you is that he likes the feel of the team, and and that we're working together well. They went and did different things, bowling and all that kind of stuff on, after workouts, not instead of workouts. But we gained a lot of weight. We're faster than we have been. Taylor Green looks great. The guys that need to lose weight have, guys that need to gain have. And so we've had a really good summer.
You added some guys after spring at cornerback and safety, and I'm wondering how you feel about the depth at those positions. You referenced it a little bit at SEC Media Days about being able to stand up at corner, but I'm wondering at safety as well.
Safety, there's some battles going on. Obviously, we've got Miguel Mitchell, Larry Worth. Those are two guys they'll certainly run out there with the ones when we like the addition of Caleb Wooden. I think he can play. He could play hog, boundary, or free, or strong safety. The hog position is the one there that we think we've got really good talent, but that's going to be wait and see on who's going to be the starter there with that competition that we talked about with Jordan Young and Shakir Smalls. That's who we have set right there on our depth chart. So I feel really good about 5 of those guys, and as far as the battles go for those 3 positions, and then Akari would be another guy that certainly will hit you, and he'll play a lot of special teams. We'll see where he ends up in that battle.
Do you expect to have the right side of your offensive line sorted out by the end of camp, or is it something you want to tinker with, the first couple weeks of the season too?
You must be a coach's key. It's a good question. Well, you want to. When you decide to move somebody or up, back, whatever, you need to be right, and you need for them to understand why. They watch the same tape that we do. So if that surfaces, then that's certainly what we'll do. If not, then we won't. If we don't have a definite guy that's above somebody else, and then we have 2 really good players, we're going to find a way to play them both. But I've always been a guy kind of wanted to play 5 guys, 6 guys. There was a reason why they're 1. But if we don't have that figured out, then we'll play 6 or 7 guys probably.
And then with CC out, just how do you feel about the rest of that group at that Z receiver spot?
Where's that at?
Oh, at Z receiver with CC out, how do you feel about the rest of the group?
Well, I feel good about them. We've got speed. We've got the Browns. Jalen and CJ. Andy Jean's another guy. We were talking about possibly moving one of those guys in to slot a little bit to get them on the field a little bit more. But I feel really good about our size there and especially our speed there.
I was going to ask you about the wide receivers as well. I heard Coach Souders do an interview a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned the summer captains, and I didn't hear him mention any of the wide receivers in that group. I'm curious, who in that group has stepped up as a kind of in a leadership role there?
They all work really hard. So when you talk about leaders, you're talking about example by work ethic. They all work really hard. I would think Raylan Sharp would be the first name that would come off of my mind as far as a guy that is a little more vocal. They all work hard. Like I said, Mega Blake would be another guy like that. C.J. Brown, Monte Harrison. If you ask the guys in the room, they probably would say Monte Harrison would be their guy, their leader. The guy does by example as well. But right off the top of my head, those would be the 4 guys that I would think would be in line of what you would say the leader. But I think we're going to be more of leaders than just like an Andrew Armstrong or a Tesla a year ago.
Another wide receiver, I want to get your specific thoughts on Jalen Brown. I mean, you brought him up on the radio this morning. Just what about him stands out to you? Speed.
I called him in and I had a nice talk with him. I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing it. What's going to be the difference between LSU and Florida State and Arkansas? What's going to be the difference? And we all have to look in the mirror and figure out, how we can do things better. And not say how can somebody else do something better. It's us, it's me as far as running the program. and I had a really good talk with him. I think he's in the right frame of mind to excel as what he was recruited out of high school. Of course, he was really highly recruited and highly regarded in high school, and it's time for him to be that guy and better. And I just believe he will. He's got a good work ethic. He can catch the ball, and he can fly. He can run.
Of course, you have Story and Dix at linebacker. How are you feeling about the depth behind those two?
I like him. Bradshaw. Bradshaw, he's going to be right in the middle of, trying to figure out if he's a one or not. I like him. Waylon made a lot of tackles, and then unfortunately, fortunately for us, but with the coach and all that, and I believe it was Kent State. I like those guys, and it's time for Wyatt Simmons to do something. He's last year he was a freshman and was had some hamstring issues and all that. He's a big 240-some pound guy that can run. We like him. And it's time for him to get going, and he will. And Tavion Wallace would be the other guy, I think, in there. But I think if you look at older guys that's played, you mentioned the first two, and then obviously Bradshaw and Waylon.
The last time we talked to you at SEC Media Days was about a week after CC had that surgery. You said it would probably shut him down. Just with more time since then, have you gotten a clear timeline on what his return looks like?
He as of right now, he won't play this year.
Okay. And then also just in terms of executing what you want to this weekend, what would have to happen for it to be a good start to camp, the one that you want?
Well, we have to know where we're going, what we're doing. We have to make sure that we're giving high effort, which none of those things I'm concerned about. I mean, you've got a veteran quarterback, you got leaders all over the place. We've got leaders in the whiteout group. We just got to find out who's going to be vocal. They're going to lead by example. But in every place we have the leadership, I want to see it come out. I want to when it gets tough in practice, I want us to be better, not worse. I want us to be better. And I want to execute on both sides of the ball. And then if you're doing that, obviously you know what you're doing. We can find out who can go out and win games for us. So that's just basically it. I want to fly around. I want to enjoy playing the game of football, and I want to see great competition so we can figure out exactly who we can win games with.